Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday. We are halfway through the week, and today is my Wednesday stream of Roadwarden by Moral Anxiety Games. This is what we're up to, yet again. Still trying to finish the game. So today's splash screen says, "Who falls asleep in the forest wakes up in a troll's mouth," or, as Trav commented, or worse yet, a corpse eater's, which I agreed with. Clever clogs. Yes, corpse eaters. Not fun. Not fun. So here we are to continue our game. We are still with the Tribe of the Green Mountain here. They've been kind enough to let us in and talk to people. We even have a place to sleep tonight, which is good because it's getting close to the end of the game, or end of the day here. We still got a few hours, but there's things going on. There are things going on. So, we decided to finish this conversation today. We are talking with what we believe to be the leaders of the Tribe of the Green Mountain. Our guide has helped us. I suspect that her current mount used to be Astron's mount, but I do not know for certain. In any case, double checking to make sure I've pulled down my caption. Yep, we're all good to go. Let's get back into this. So, the Tribe of the Green Mountain speak in an old tongue dialect. As anyone who's been with me this whole time knows, I don't do the dialects in this game very well, so apologies if I stumble over their even more dialecty written words. No worries, Winter Fairy. Go grab that coffee. I've already finished mine. I have water now. So sad. Anyway. Let's see here. You speak in the old speech, and the man smiles. Let's use the city tongue from now on. Our shaman, he looks at the young person in a light outfit. I told her what I knew, but we both need to practice. Or I taught her what I knew, but we both need to practice. She frowns and waves her hand in front of her nose as if there's a fly there. Hello. Her voice is both delicate and annoyed. Shaman, Gayen? It's definitely not an English name. I'm probably mangling it, and I apologize. She struggles to utter. I struggle to utter her name, so I understand her plight. The man stares at you, speaking more confidently and with a greater familiarity of the sounds he uses. I am Cephas, 'tis chief of the Tribe of the Green Mountain. Your gift bought you our time, but we've busy lives. I try to get used to their dialect. Who sends you, Sauron? Oh boy, we have a vote. We have a vote at hand. We have the friendly option of, I speak softly, no one. As a road warden, I wanted to be sure you didn't need my help. We have the playful option of a smile with my curiosity. We have the distanced option of, I look them in the eyes. I represent the interests of the city of Hovlavin as well as its merchants guild, which is the truth. So Guyane, something like that. Or Guyane. I'm probably going to mangle her name forever. I apologize. But yes, appropriate for a shaman, indeed. We have the intimidating option of, I say a soundless curse. Why do you care? Getting here, sweat and dragon bones. I deserve to speak with you. No, that's a terrible option. The vulnerable option is I think about the words of the old druid. I'm a freedom seeker, a friend of the speakers of the forest. Ooh. We remember what he told us to tell them. So we have 5 options. The friendly option, the playful option, the distanced and very truthful option, the intimidating option, which I don't approve of, and the vulnerable option, which is what our friend the druid and the forest speaker in the south told us. Trav says, now the merchant sent us, but that doesn't mean that we have to care about them. We carry a few messages and do everything else ourselves. Heavily recommended that last one. Well, Trav, is that your vote? Is the vulnerable option number 5? So I have a feeling Winter Fairy's going to agree with you. Very yes, 5. Yeah, no. We were counseled by that druid to say these words, and honestly, I'm gonna go with that. Like, even if chat would not have agreed with me, which I believe chat absolutely would agree with me anyway. Um, he was wise and he knows the area and he's met with these people before. So saying these words definitely is going to get us into their good graces. And since they are quite literally the very last settlement that we have found in this game, I should know because we have this, which is I visited every settlement on the peninsula finally. Um, like it's been long enough in the game that considering we're on day 31 that we don't really feel like we work for Hovlavin in the Merchant Guild anymore. We've been doing a lot of our own work, and it feels like we are the Roadwarden of the area. We have, traveled far, sent messages, helped a plague. I mean, we are working on getting trails less terribly put together, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, I think the vulnerable option is the best. Straightens up, giving you a serious look. Then sit down with us and rest, for we've all found our freedom here. The shaman gives you both puzzled looks but says nothing. May the freedom seeker be free of hunger and welcomed, he says to her, then addresses the woman sitting at the fire in the old speech. Soon after you sit down, an aromatic bowl of stew lands in your hands, warming them up. The chief and the shaman also receive very small servings, accompanying you. Once the bowls are taken away, the gentle voice of Gien breaks the silence. Can't move mountains for you, but we listen and share. She reaches for a few gems in various colors and puts them into a single roll. A single row. Blah, blah, blah. I can read, I promise. That's a good point, Trav. On the peninsula, we're kind of working for ourselves now, but if we sail away after Astron, we could possibly sail for strange new lands across the across the sea. Yes. So we have lots of things to speak with. I'm not sure if we'll get to say all of them. She reached for gems in various colors and put them in a single row. That could be that for every question she takes away a gem and when we run out of gems, we run out of questions we can ask this time round. I don't know. But it looks like we will be able to ask all these questions until we say until the I stand up and farewell option. So is there a question that chat wants me to ask first? I'm probably going to try to ask as many of these as I can. But is there a question chat wants me to ask first? Question 1 is I'm trying to find Astron. Question 2 is I'd like to learn more about your village. Question 3 is can I help you with anything as a road warden? Question 4 is Old Pagos, the village on the opposite side of the peninsula, was attacked by a plague. Question 5 is have you heard about the necromancers living in the far west? Question 6 is the roads in the west grow more dangerous as they struggle with bandits. And question 7 is the roads are dangerous. Do you have any useful equipment to sell? So that is our options. Is there a question that chat wants me to ask first? Regardless of the order, because I might just start cherry picking questions after that. I've done that before, but I'm wondering what chat would like as a first question. Trav says, not many questions seem worth asking, or look like time wasters. And we've already been told there's nothing at all that we could do for them because they don't care about anything beyond their borders and they handle local things themselves. Go pick cherries. Okay. I mean, we came here basically on the heels of what we know of Asteron trying to find him. So that seems like the best thing possible. But mentioning the plague on the other side of the peninsula as something that has happened recently, I mean, to be fair, I understand that because we found their village so late in the game, um, is half the reason why it looks like we should have found them earlier. It's kind of the thing here. So, yeah, I understand why it looked like why the questions are this way, but I'm going to start with I'd like to learn about your village. It always helps to learn what's going on in the village before we go, hey, can I help you? Just to see what they'll say about themselves. We're going to start there. The shaman leans forward, smiling. The fire plays with her shadow. And how, in your tongue? Without crossing our tunnels or plowing our fields or battling the snowcats or making a cut bowl with our elders? She gestures for you to take a glance at the huts, the spears, and rocks beneath her. We've our own seasons, trades, and legends. Spirits guide us through dreams and thunders. Children learn stories older than emperors. As she grows more passionate with every word, the chief observes her with a smile. He reaches for his sword, observing the dark scabbard covered in a fancy pattern of squares. If we were a tribe of the 10 cities, you'd like to hear at what we dig for ore, grow crops, hunt. We lack some things, we have others in abundance, but we accept what we get and we won't open our gates to no merchants or blood we can't trust. That's fair. That's fair. Who's the decision maker in the village? The chief or the shaman? The village decides for the village. Cephas smiles. In the tribe, a chief worries about things of today, and a shaman worries about the things of the past and tomorrow. Gien looks at him with respect. For there are harvests of this season, she says solemnly, but taste like ashes without memories and hopes. She points to the bones and pebbles beneath her as if they're meant to explain it all. A quiet tune plays from the opposite end of the chamber in an attempt to calm a crying child. Can I help you with anything as a Roadwarden? Do we look as if we need anyone's help? Do you see cracks in our walls that can't be sealed without your blood, or monsters you can sing to sleep? Gain reaches for 2 green gems and places them on the edge of the fabric, side by side. Don't get angry. Her voice is close to a whisper and seems to ease the ire in the chief's gaze right away. When she does look at you, she keeps her hands in front of her, palms up. Does your soul speak of pride or of care? Can't see it, but we're good as is, and ask you to trust our mouths to ask for us if we need him to. Okay. That's fair. Um I'm not entirely certain. That's my theory, Trav. The gems may in fact be a count of how many questions we actually get to ask. Um But that does not necessarily mean that it is. It could also be a silent or a shamanistic thing to figure out, to divine things about us. I'm not entirely certain. It will become clear in time. Yeah, we could ask about the useful equipment to sell, but I kind of want to do a little bit more other things. So we did come here to find out about Astron, so I'm going to ask about him anyway. I'm trying to find Astron. He was here, and a few times. With every word, Cephas's voice gets quieter as if he's not sure how to continue. We helped him, for he gave us a grand promise and a sign of his trustworthiness. Brought back a soul that thought to be lost in the woods, but it's been almost a season since we saw him. Um, that's. I keep getting more questions. Dang it. That Saurian outside, it used to belong to Astron, am I right? That's correct. Cephas's approving eyes contrast with the threatening look of his nose, and his voice is warm. Where he was heading, there was no place for a beast that doesn't swim well, so he asked us to look after it, and also he was afraid of the unicorns. After you mentioned that you doubt having fewer teeth would help someone deal with such a monster, Guyane chuckles, then bites her lower lip, showing her unusually long canines. You'd like to cut to the skin of a spirit of havoc? City folk think the unicorns are but a battering ram. Yet they are their own soul carriers, led by judgment, not anger. They eat grass and shoots, not flesh. But when not with calves, listen to kind tales and prayers. The chief nods. It was wise of him to not take with him a bloodthirsty Saurian. It won't learn when to bow, for it trusts only its own muscles and fear. He went to a place with unicorns. Oh boy. Um, what kind of person is Asteron? A shell lost on its path to nowhere. Gian stares into your eyes, a soul torn by its dreams, a word spoken to no one. The chief frowns but doesn't add anything. But where did Asteron go? Cephas runs his stern eyes over you, to a place that doesn't need yet another city folk. Okay, okay. The roads are dangerous. Do you have any useful equipment to sell? The chief scoffs. Why do you have something we may want? We don't have dragon bones, don't trade, and we need what we have. We have more horns than we need, the shaman chips in, and after a bit of pause, Cephas agrees. We could barter for it. Our guards and scouts use the horns of many beasts, but there's only one type we don't use anymore. The war horn, Yin adds ominously, roars like a dragon. The chief smirks. That's right. Most beasts flee when they hear it, but can't show you how it sounds here. We'd go deaf. Can I at least see it? The dragon horn. When blown, it imitates the roar of an enormous creature. Ooh, we could barter for it. Let's see what we... Just his cloak. Okay. You look at the horn, thinking of the things you could offer to the tribe. Maybe another time. Oh, that would definitely get the howler monkeys out of the way. I expected this mountain to be more green. We are of it, but not on it. Cephas glances at the flames. The Green Mountain is on High Island. Gain's voice becomes melodic, even though she pauses when she says a few more of the unique words out loud. The volcano in the very center. Around it are fields our fields were growing like they could in no other soil of the north. Every few lifespans, lava turns to ashes the woods that it feeds, but these ashes give birth to the sweetest fruits and heaviest grains. Volcanic farming. Very, very nice, unless the volcano in question is exploding. Let's see. What do you think about Hovlavin? We don't. Cephas's voice is cold. And when Gien chips in, she hands you a soft, though heavy pouch. Inside, you find a collection of dozens of red crystals, each one smaller than a game die. The city's corsairs pillaged our homeland for years, saying they would stop once we'd agreed to pay the yearly tribute. They murdered us and torched our harbors and crops, for we held the island before them and prayed to different spirits. You return the pouch and ask what's the meaning behind it. The shamans of old made a tomb with one rock for every soul lost to the 10 cities. They brought them here to help us remember. Expansionism, that's how it do. Old Pagos, the village on the opposite side of the peninsula, was attacked by a plague. Oh, we ran out of things that we could say. Cephas glances at the puzzled shaman and says a word in the old speech, causing her to gasp and switch the positions of a few bones. He then looks at you. Terrible, but we can do nothing. They have to endure it, and we'd not risk breathing their air. Gain nods in agreement, even though there's a sadness to her voice. Souls and tribes come and go, but the woods abide. For 10 years now, we have let the lowlanders keep to themselves. Okay. So all that we have left is barter and leave. Chat. The only thing that we can barter with is Astron's cloak. So this is a deal or no deal situation. Do we trade the cloak for the horn? Or do we keep the cloak and not have any way of dealing with the howler monkeys that we've come across in 2 locations? We have enough places where we can heal now that it's not that big a deal if we don't have the cloak. The cloak just allows us to heal in places that don't have an inn or a better place to sleep. Essentially, that's all it does. Is it gives us the ability to, on a nourishment of 2+, heal a heart of vitality, or 2, depending. It doesn't do anything else than that. It's just a sleeping bag, essentially. But we have enough places to sleep where we can heal. That is not a problem. We also have the druids in Hovlavin that will heal us as well. So the cloak is a nicety, but it's not a necessity. However, the horn will help us find perhaps one of the 3 hunters alive. It will also help us get through the heart of the forest more quickly. I think we need this item, actually. But it is deal or no deal. So, chat, deal or no deal? 1 is deal, 2 is no deal. It doesn't seem like we can't come back, Trav. I mean, granted, this is a blind playthrough for me, so thank you for looking things up and not necessarily saying anything. I also realized that the cider could have been used in other places, not just for dragon bones, but at the time that I sold it, we needed the dragon bones to get other items more. So, yes, have we done the most efficient playthrough of this game? Absolutely not. That's kind of why it's a blind playthrough situation. We've stumbled, we've made choices, it's fine. But from what I can tell, this is the only item that we have found so far that could deal with the howler monkeys efficiently. And as I said, we've opened up enough places where we can spend the night and heal sufficiently that we don't necessarily need the cloak that much anymore. We're at a point in the game where truly the only reason why we're still playing is just to finish up all the quests that we have. That's it. We could end the game like very shortly. We could end the game today if we wanted to. But I've been enjoying chasing down the quests. So, for anyone in chat that is a non-subscriber, you have an ad in roughly a minute. Yeah, I mean, it's not that that the cloak wouldn't continue to be useful. It's just that it's not necessarily a be-all end-all. Like, getting this cloak this late getting the cloak as late in the game as we did was fine. It was actually it came in to be quite useful for us for the things that we were doing. But in this, as late in the game as it is now, it's not the end of the world if we don't have it. We have, as I said, lots of places to sleep where we can heal, and we have options to get potions and stuff. So, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm making a choice. I'm gonna do it. Met with disbelief, you describe the cloak's powers, and Gain covers her mouth looking at the chief. For the elders, and the watch, and the climbers. His nod is thoughtful. Let's go and see it then. Finishing the transaction takes a good few minutes since you have to get soda pop, show Cephas what you have. Gain refused to join you, then return to the cane. Once the Saurian rider takes your gift, the other locals discuss their new possession enthusiastically. I need to learn where did Astron go? Cephas runs his stern eye over you, to a place that doesn't need yet another city folk, our old home, High Island, to the place we lost to the dragons of Havlavin, and where we will return once the cities fall. To the Green Mountain, Gain adds with an excited whisper. When asked about the reason why the Roadwarden wanted to reach this place at all, the shaman struggles with finding the right words. He believed there was a key to his answers there, a link between the homes of our tribe and the oldest streets of Havlavin, ones so old they are deep beneath those you know of. I care not for any of that, the chief interrupts her. We agreed to help him to get to the caves carved in the volcano and in the heart of our homeland, for he was meant to share with us whatever he sees or learns. Now he's lost. Can we talk about High Island? We can, but no soul of our tribe has been there in generations. Even a gentle frown changes the chief's scarred face greatly. We won't return there while the cities remain a threat. All right. How can I get there? Don't you know the tribes cut any limb that so much as touches our homeland? Don't you know the tribes cut any limbs that so much as touches our homeland? Sorry, reading this is sometimes hard. The chief observes your hands while rubbing his own, dried and covered with scars. You want it to turn into a pyre for Roadwardens? The shaman's quiet voice is like a touch of dew. If you land there, bring us Astron or your own tail, Sauron, or we may not forgive you. Her tone carries no question, no request. She then gets off the stool, crouches above the fabric, and grabs a few small bones. She arranges them in a curved line. The coast of High Island, as tall as a ship. She doesn't look at you. Here is north. She marks it with a white pebble. Closer to Gale Rocks, a red rock far away from the island. Swim there, to the northern waterfall. Her hands return to the island, placing a blue gem in what seems to be a corner. When she meets your eyes, her voice starts to quicken, heedless of the stumbling over words. At waterfall, that waterfall hides a cave, an old harbor. Boat can't land there without high tide of the night. Just in case, you ask her to repeat so you can memorize it, and Cephas helps to summarize it. Why don't you want anyone to land there? What good could it bring us? The chief leans back as if there's nothing to talk about. After a few breaths, the shaman chips in. We'll enter the island like a traveler returning to their bed. Eyes of the city folk see not our homeland, but their failed search for iron. Eyes of the other tribes see our lost treasure not as our soil, sky, and rains, but only as belongings to grab and sell. Our friends help us keep an eye on the island, and if anyone breaks our rule, we'll be ready to swim there and stop their greed. But it's no longer a home to any human soul. What's the story of the island? Gain smiles and starts to speak in the old speech, as if she's repeating the same tale for the 100th time, then chuckles once she shifts to the city tongue. She struggles at some points, but Cephas provides her with words and phrases or fills the gaps on his own. The Green Mountain, the life-giving volcano in the center of the island, has been home to the tribe for longer than anyone can remember, as we're older than any of the 10 cities, though you doubt there are any ways to verify such a claim. The shaman spends a good few minutes describing the days of her ancestors through hardship. They managed to tame enough land to grow vegetables and made a great chunk of the island their forest garden. After finding the iron and copper veins, they had enough tools and weapons to save their offspring from back-breaking labor. She's also eager to describe the deeds of many families and heroes and the unique herbs with their beautiful names, but the chief asks her to move on. For most of its existence, Havlavin avoided the island, finding hardship in getting close to it, and since the pagans were reluctant to accept dragon bones, the merchants saw little value in their wares. However, once the tribes of the peninsula noticed the growing supply of alloys used by the island folk and their fishers, the news reached the city. Yep. A little more than 200 years ago, the officials tried to negotiate a new trade deal with the locals, but to no avail. Finally, they allowed the corsairs to start their usual efforts, putting to use the growing height of their ships. At first, they harassed the fishers, then landed on the island itself. The tribe was ready to fight for what was theirs, but the cruelty they faced outmatched them. The kidnappings made the locals afraid to leave their walls, and then the raids enslaved whole hamlets or burned many crucial structures. Using traps and their knowledge of the terrain, the tribe managed to kill more than they lost, but the corsair ships kept coming, always led by new yet even more experienced captains. After a few bloody battles, the forest fires started, and the locals understood that they had little time before the wrath of the herds would trample them to death. We are the eighth generation of the tribe living here, so close to the coast, yet so far from it, she ends her tale. Taming the new grounds was harsh, and once the first children born in these tunnels started breathing, only a fifth of the tribe was still here to welcome them. Why won't your tribe try to reclaim the island? The root of our torment survived the plague, the invasion, and disasters, not known only to the oldest tales. Gain grabs a few small bones from the fabric beneath her and starts to roll them between the palms of her hands. We have no strength to fight it, no hope to defeat it, but we can wait in humbleness and hope the spirits will turn their face away once our enemies come to them for help. Cephas rests a hand on his side. Returning would anger the herds and cost us dearly, yet after 1-2 generations, once our walls and children grow strong. He looks at an infant being fed by the fire. The corsairs will once again bring torches and chains, for their right allows them to murder freely. He utters the soul carrier's name with disgust. Leading our tribe to their homeland is a dream of every chief and every shaman, but it's a dream of the prideful. Is the island dangerous? Cephas shrugs. As dangerous as the wildest woods and hills. Its roads are no more, and spiders and ape men now live in our houses. The city folk who tried to take our lands may still be there, walking shells without souls, but after so much time, they likely went after blood on the mainland. Is there something that could help me explore the island? The second generation that lived on this mountain knew it would one day forget its homeland. Game pauses, observing a young woman adding wood to the fire. They built the statue of a spirit that protected us from the flames of the Green Mountain, the sleeping giant. He still holds the key to the island. The key, you repeat, and Cephas tilts his head. A map, I'd say. I've time now. Teach me what I need to know about the statue. Now we know what to do with the giant statue. Stand in front of it, kneel, bow your head, starts Gien with a tone of the grandparent instructing a child how to say thank you. Say these words at least 10 times. She utters words in the old speech for a while, though her thick accent leaves you unsure about parts of it. She then gives you a warm smile and repeats much slower. O the spirits and our grandfathers, be with our paths and not in thunders. The night is here and we are but a shadow. The shining stones are falling in the grass. The ape screams of our mouths are weak and short. We come from a flame and vanish in the fog, and we taste life to the last breath. You then spend a couple of minutes repeating her words and mimicking her accent. It's not hard to memorize it. The rhythm makes it more of a poem than a speech. Finally, the chief and the shaman move on to the shining lights, which the statue will reveal. The great green lights in the center is the Green Mountain, and the great blue one next to it, the home of the tribe, Cephas explains. The others mark buildings. The dim ones were lost even before the days of the Corsairs. We abandoned the brighter ones only 8 generations ago. Blue lights stand for hamlets, white, camps and dolmens, yellow, watchtowers, the orange, he pauses, are different as they mean the lairs of the greatest beasts. After a few more minutes of making sure you've memorized everything, you need a momentary break as the heavy air is giving you a headache. That's everything I wanted to ask about. A guard enters the chamber to whisper something to Cephas, then quickly leaves. Well, we now know how to get to the Green Mountain. The island of the Green Mountain. I stand up. Farewell. Reaching High Island. You found enough clues to believe that Astron has traveled to High Island, northwest of the peninsula, and hasn't been seen ever since. You can only reach the island by a boat, leaving the coast during the day and landing at nighttime during high tide. A chance that you're going to find him there on your own is slim. So I need a boat and maybe a few friends or mercenaries. The Saurian rider helps you leave the caves. The sunlight and the crisp air are a welcome change. Well, we don't really have anything else to do here. And it's too early to sleep. So, we can get back to the abandoned watchtower, or we go the giant and get the map. We also have places to reach High Island. So it looks like the fishing hamlet has a boat we might be able to just use. And from Gale Rocks, we can buy a boat. If that's what we want to do. Interesting. Let's go get that map. That seems like at least we'd have the map. Let's go get the map. Now that we know what to do. An eagle is sitting on the head of the statue, tearing a chunk of meat. Once it flies away, it carries the corpse of a little fox that's as large as its own shell. I return to the statue. You're standing in front of the statue. I try to awaken it. Kneel. You rest your knees on the ground to show your respect and humility, just like your ancestors would. Speak. not in here. No, not in here. Well, I don't know what the key word is. Awaken. You're kneeling in front of the statue. It feels right. Pray? Okay. Ah, here we go. You say a few words and your thoughts are unusually keen and focused as if you've entered a new stage of the ritual. I follow the lead of my ancestors and pray as they would. There we go. We finally we we finally figured out what they wanted us to do. It's sometimes not very like it's very old school that they sometimes have these prompt areas and you don't quite know what word you need. Although we did pray last time, but we didn't have the information we needed to do it. Yes, Trav coming in clutch as always. You place the blanket beneath your knees and prepare yourself for a long prayer. You bow down your head and stretch out your arms, whispering the words that simply feel right. You address the spirits living in the garden and the mountain, asking the ancestors for guidance and wisdom. You can't be sure they're listening, but with many breaths, your thoughts get clear and tranquil. Even Soda Pop is quiet. Pay no attention to the passing minutes. After another, tiny stars. That's so cool. Tiny stars, white, blue, orange, and yellow, emerge from the dark cloak. Some of them get wider and more intense, while many more stay dim. After a few moments, they move no more, and you get used to the hollow darkness remaining between them. It may take me hours, but I do my best to memorize everything I can about the signs presented on the statue. Oh, we are going to get attacked tonight. Okay, let's do it. You try to get used to the curved surface of the cloak and the plentitude of distracting small dots. You manage to stay focused all the way through, getting it done in only half an hour. You spell out the positions and colors of the larger dots from memory. Then again and again, you step away, convinced you've got this. Okay, we have 2 hours to find a place to sleep. We can get to the abandoned watchtower, or we can go back to the tribe of the Green Mountain much sooner. We don't really need to go back to the tribe. Shall we go back to the watchtower? Just an opinion needed, guys. No vote on this. Look for monkeys? Well, we know where some of the monkeys are. The Northern Road and in one of the sections of the heart of the forest. Either way, getting out to the abandoned watchtower to sleep would be a good idea. We could even get it to the cabin, but I don't think we can sleep there. I'm gonna go to the watchtower. We've got time. We can just make it. The watchtower is blending in with the wilderness slowly. For a moment, you think that the gate's position has changed since your last visit, but once you get closer, you're sure there are no fresh tracks. Oh, no worries, Trav. You be semi AFK. We've got fish, so I'm gonna cook the fish. I'm not dumb. It takes you a good few minutes before the fire gets started, then grows strong enough for you to cook. In the meantime, you prepare the captured creatures. You cut through their stomachs, remove the guts with your fingers, then pierce through the animals with pointed sticks. Keeping them at a safe distance, you roast them slowly until they both look and smell prepared. We will gather wood for another day. It's not difficult to find dead trees in the woods, but you take some time to find such pieces that won't force you to use your battle axe. You find tinder beneath the shrubs and some dry branches dropped by the healthy trees. You don't need to warm yourself up for long, so once you're sure you have enough for the basic cooking, you move everything next to the camp. And then we will sleep. Yeah, Yeah, we don't actually need any healing, so that's fine. Gonna be hungry in the morning, but that's okay. You wake up in silence, barely hearing the wind outside the tower walls. You gather your things and climb down to where Soda Pop is napping. You walk it outside, allowing it to graze on the grass for half an hour. You place all your writing equipment on it and check your belongings. Thankfully, you find no signs of bugs. All right, let's get some food. Ooh, perfect. This chicken increases our nourishment by 3. So we're full now. Yay. We don't have any more chicken, but we're full now. So it is time to travel. What do I need to do? Let's go to my quests. Explore the peninsula. We've done quite a bit of that. Find the Roadwarden. We still could do that. Gather a crew. Edgia owes me a favor, so we might be able to grab her and jump in a boat. The more people we find, the better. Glaucia's band. We're still working on that. Lost merchants. We can now report this to Severina. I feel like that would be fine. Missing hunters. We still need to find them. So, and quills for the monastery. Okay, yeah, we're near Eudocia. We'll go get those quills real quick. That'll be a quickie thing. You touch the cold shell. The monster's eyes glow red. Sauron, come inside. I wouldn't mind a bit of company. The golems let you in. I go straight to the house. Eudocia is sitting in the stool by the hearth and stares at smoking incense, though she extinguishes it once you show up. I was asked to deliver the writing quills to the monastery. You're in luck then. They're ready. She stands up with a sigh and moves to the cupboard, then grabs something from the shelf and turns back to you. Here. She opens a small leather case and pulls out the quills, a mix of translucent grays and whites. You step closer and reach out for them, but she keeps holding them. Why do you aid the monks? They're a rather grim bunch, aren't they? Some nasty rumors are in the air. Her grasp is strong. Her eyes meet you briefly. Well, how do we respond to that, chat? We have the options of you're also working with them in a touche sort of answer, which is number 1. Number 2 is it's just a job. Number 3 is what do you mean by rumors? Number 4 is everyone has a story. I'm not the one to judge. Number 5 is it's better to get on people's good side. And number 6 is that's none of your concern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So are you? Job? Rumors? Story? Better good side, I think will be number 5. And 6 is none of your concern. None ya. 6 is none ya. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. One is Uno reverse. That's the keyword for number 1. Uno reverse. You want to Uno reverse her, huh, Winter Fairy? Should we get snarky? Okay. Be safe going to the store. Or 5. I think 5 is more in our character. Yeah, 1 or 5. Yeah, no, I understand. Number 1 is like, well, you're working with them too. Honestly, asking what do you mean by rumors might be interesting to find out. Like, it is just a job. We took it primarily to get on their good side. But I think everyone has a story. I'm not one to judge, and or it's better to get on people's good side is kind of more our character. I know that Sorry Awkward would say go for the knowledge, which is what do you mean by rumors? So it's interesting. There are multiple options here that I would think is in our character, but I don't know if she'd appreciate the snarky Uno reverse. You're also working with them. It's just a job is kind of a neutral, boring option. I don't really like that option. What do you mean by rumors? Because honestly, everyone talks about her the same way. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with number 5. In the end, I think that's just probably the best way of going about this. Just like it's better to get on people's good side. The Northerners have to stick together, but don't let the outsiders too close. I may not like my neighbors, but as long as I want to eat aught more than frogs and bark, I need to have them around. She stares into your eyes, piercing you with her gray irises. But you're not a prisoner of this place. You can come and go if you so please. Ooh. Do you feel like a prisoner here? She looks away. What do you mean by rumors? She releases the case with a frustrated grimace. What do you mean by what do you mean? She's pretty good at mimicking your accent. What is it that you haven't heard? That the monastery brings sickness and nightmares? That the monks have the village in their bandit grasp? That the prelate crawls in the caves like a beast in a den? Her gaze softens when the two of you exchange looks. I'm just glad they sent ye here. I'd be glad to teach my golems to speak if it would spare me the sight of nasty monastic robes. You glance at her own nasty robe, though she doesn't even notice it. Have you ever heard about High Island? Of course. Oh yeah, we kind of judge. We're judgy. But we haven't yet refused to help people. But we are kind of judgy. We've decided that Theus is a bad person. Let's be honest. But of course, she says right away, but then leans away and glances at your boots. Though I didn't pay much attention to the monks' tails. She brushes her dark hair with her fingers, asking you to give her a moment. She doesn't share much with you. High Island is the largest island that's somewhere close to the coast, but its huge volcano makes it a worrying sight. It may be covered with green forests and hills, but no tribe aspires to claim it. You may want to ask Foggy. She loves tales of weird places. Ooh. Maybe it's the right time to offer her work in, just the spirit rock. Okay, we don't really need it. Maybe it's the right time to offer her work in the city. You glance at her absent eyes. She has shown you signs of trust, but you won't convince her with just a smile. The more you'll learn about the peninsula, the more arguments you'll have at your disposal. Do we want to convince her to go work in Havlavin? That is the question on the table. What does chat think? I'm not sure. I have thoughts, but I'm not sure what I want to do here. What does chat think? If anyone's able to give thoughts on the matter. Oh, sorry, Trav. No rush. Just we have this option to convince Eudocia to attempt to work in Havlavin. We have the option to convince her to go work to take her business to Havlavin. And I'm not sure I want to do that. I'm not entirely certain why we want to do that. It just became an option, is essentially how it came. So I want chat's thoughts on the matter. That's all. I can't help but agree, Trav. It's for anyone who's not subscribed to me, there's an ad coming in roughly 10 seconds or so. Just FYI, but yeah. As Trav says, it can't help thinking that it's not a very nice change for her. She values her independence and isolation. If she did decide to go there, she'd be very, very miserable at best. But she's also lonely here. Like, I'm not sure what's best for her. I'm not sure that it's up to us to decide, but we could attempt to convince her to take her business to Havlavin, and it might be, well, golems are not unknown in Havlavin. There's been mention of that. So it might be great for her to be able to sell her golems and her enchanted items in Havlavin. It could be really great business for her, but at the same time, like, maybe she's not ready for that much interaction with people. I don't know. And it's kind of nice to have her golems helping keep the Eastern roads safe, or at the very least maintained. Yeah, I don't think we're ready to deal with this yet. So we should just go. She's nice enough. So we have that path. We need to get up to Foggy's and ask Foggy about High Island. We need to go to the Northern Road as well. Yeah, let's go up to Foggy's. Maybe we'll finally get that copper ore vein thing finally settled with Foggy. Oh, we can approach the foragers again. Okay, cool. The screeching birds are sitting on the logs of the palisade. Some of them observe you, but the group doesn't cease its squabbling. The foragers are carving a new set of throwing clubs. Nice. I approach the foragers. Zavi is sitting on the ground while two others are leaning against the palisade. They glance towards you, but say nothing. I'm looking for a few souls willing to explore High Island with me. Stupid or what? Elan bursts into laughter. There are easier ways to seek death, and dragons aren't worth that shit. Zavi, however, gives you a long look. Why? You mentioned briefly your search for Astron. Sounds like a waste of effort. He adjusts his cloak. But I'll do it, for a fair pay. I'm good with knives, sneaking by and making small things out of wood. The tall forager straightens up and looks his companion in the eyes, demanding explanation, but the man in black fur waves it off. I'm bored of the inn, and I'd hate spending another winter in creeks. His voice carries a hint of an apology. Aye, we need no dragons here, but I'd take them south, behind hags. The distance between them grows with every breath. What's your price? You did well during our hunt, so I assume you know what you're asking. 10 dragons. I won't work for less. Ever. I'm good at sneaking, even better at stabbing things. And I move well. Climb, crawl. Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree, Trav. She is lonely, but she does not want people in general. Otherwise, she would have stayed in Old Pagos. Um, yeah, I'm not even quite all that certain why it became an option. I think there was a line in passing in a conversation we had with her that she might find more opportunities in Hovlavin, and that was that. But then a little bit later, we had that option open. So I'm not entirely certain pursuing that is a good idea. I'm not entirely certain that it even ends with her going. So it's weird. It wasn't very well foreshadowed. Let's put it that way. So we have dragon coins. We could recruit Zavi right now. Do we want to recruit Zavi, or do we want to let this do this later? Are we have we decided to go after Astron completely, or are we not going to worry about it? I just want opinions. This is not really a vote. I just want opinions. Chat, what are your thoughts? Later, recruit when we're about to go. We might have to use the money before then. We do have things left to do. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. I'll let you know. He spares you an annoyed grimace and avoids Ilan's gaze. Oh no. Alright, we need to ask Foggy some things. The room has been recently aired out. Foggy is eating stew from a bowl, but once she sees you, she finishes it with a few large gulps. She welcomes you with this Tondonian cheerful shout. Hello, love! Good to see you in one piece. I need to buy some things. Nope, do not need to buy anything. I'm selling? Nope, nothing for her to sell. High Island. She leans forward, but her voice seems to be incapable of whisper. You don't plan to swim there, do ye? You won't get there without a boat, and with a boat, it's still a dice roll. There's always a drunk or two in rocks and howlers who says they've been there, but it's all rubbish. They have hardly touched the island's wall. You try to pressure her a bit, but don't learn much. She claims that it's high above the sea, on the top of a wall-like steep cliff, and a rope may not be enough for one to get to the top. From time to time, a pillar of smoke flies out of the volcano in the center of the island. The whole place is green, with animals as great as dragons. Could it store treasures like folks say? Maybe, but no soul knows where to look for them. For all I know, some child started a tale and played with everyone's desperate dreams. Thanks. Okay. Try to remember. Maybe there's someone you know of who's been to High Island? She rolls her eyes. Dear, you're putting your fingers into the wrong stew. You're ready for it to change the topic, but she sighs loudly, and then almost whispers, Ask Navica from Gale Rocks. All right. We might have to bob up to Gale Rocks then. All right, time for me to go. Let's go to Gale Rocks. It's so much faster to go to Gale Rocks now. We do know how to get to the boat person. Life is slowing down as you look around. Many of the villagers are gathered on the western bank, preparing for a meal or a prayer. Only the youngest workers remain at their posts, maintaining the most crucial tasks, such as adding fuel to the flames. The guards are spread outside the gates, watching the area carefully. Soon after your arrival, someone asks you about your day, and as you look around, you see many smiles and hand waves. Aw, they like us here now. Navica. She glances at you, then turns her head away and pays attention to the log she's carving. You've been to High Island. She looks at you with a mixture of shock and hatred. And what do you want to do about it? Make others turn against me, Roadwarden. My village will stand by my side. Oh boy. We have the friendly option. Don't worry, I'm not trying to use this against you. I just seek information. You don't have to tell me anything. You have the playful option. Relax. I plan to see it myself. Want me to look for a nice seashell? I don't see that going over well. We have the distanced/neutral option. I'm not one to spread rumors. Tell me what you know about it and I'll keep quiet. We have the intimidating option. Tell me all you know or I'll make sure your misdeed won't be forgotten. Is that clear? Well, that seems rude. Or we have the vulnerable option. Please, Navica, I need your help. Have to know what may await me there. Hmm. So many options. The friendly option and the vulnerable option seem to be the most likely to be well received. The playful option and the intimidating option, not at all. The distanced option, I mean, it's the most neutral thing that we could say. She has her defenses up, so honestly, I think the vulnerable option is probably the best one that will get us the information we want. Yeah. I see that you agree with me, Trav, so we're just going to be vulnerable in this moment and hope that she understands what we're trying to do. Please, Navica, I need your help. I have to know what may await me there. She looks at you in silence. How come everyone needs my help, and I'm just sitting here making boats, not bothering anyone? Seeing your sad smile, she lets out a heavy sigh. Yep, a few city folk paid me to take them there, just as the war started. It was more than half my age ago, all right? I thought coins would save us from barbarians. Stupid. I landed on the edge of the island, waited for them until dawn. They were meant to look for something at the bottom of the volcano, I guess. They didn't come back, so I came back all alone. Dawn? You repeat, and she gulps loudly, then clicks her tongue. Yep, you can't get to High Island in sunlight. The tides are too low to reach the cave. You know about the cave? Behind the closer waterfall? She doesn't wait for you to answer, growling as she tries to recollect her memories. I ain't seen what's inside. Did my best to stay quiet. So I need a boat to get there, and I need to do so during nighttime. Yep. Or you could just not do all that and stay on the land. She reaches for her adze and grabs it with great strength. Well, do we inquire about the boat? I think we have a boat in as far as I can tell, I believe there's a boat in the fishing hamlet. So we don't necessarily have to buy a boat, but we could. We could definitely buy a boat. We have money. Her suggestion has merit, yes. I don't disagree. I mean, we don't have to run after Astron and find out what he knows. We don't have to. But we have been running after Astron or any information about him since the beginning of the game. We do not have to follow him. We have other choices here. But it is a choice that we could do. Yeah, I mean, it is very much a, well, it's something to do, so we better do it kind of situation. But it's an adventure. We played this game for something to do to begin with. Like, let's be honest here. We didn't have to choose Roadwarden, and we did. So here we are playing Roadwarden. Do we want to find out what happened to Astron? Or do we want to just go back to Hovlavin and wash our hands of the whole thing? That is the question. Like, as I said, we could end the game today. We already know where one of the end games are. Yeah, we don't have to buy the boat right now, but it's probably going to take her a couple of days to make the boat. So if we want the boat, we need to consider buying the boat. All right. That's a fair point, Trav. Checking the other place to make sure we can use that boat. Okay. Yeah, we'll all right, we'll walk away. We'll ask about this later. We do need to talk to Severina. So, we ascend the hill. The guard stands up to put his woodwork on his pillow, then asks you to wait. You hear his voice and the headwoman's voice coming from the hall, and once the man returns, he nods gently. You're asked to enter, so we follow him inside. Oh, yeah, we haven't told them about Old Pagos. Severina puts away her writing instruments and looks at you keenly. What's the matter? I've helped to cure the plague of Old Pagos, but the season to come will be grim for them. What do you mean, cure the plague? She keeps her voice low, but the spark in her violet eyes betrays her utter shock. She clears her throat and rests her elbows on the desk. Were they just getting cold? You try to tell her the entire story, and even though at first she stares at you from above her clasped fingers, she seems to get smaller and weaker each time you mention the old druid or the mysterious altar at the edge of the swamp. Finally, she stares at the wax tablet, defeated rather than joyful. May the right bless the kindness of that pagan. The perfumed guard announces briskly, as well as yours, Roadwarden. You've helped our old friend in need, where we thought there was no hope. Severina, he turns to the old woman, let's offer the stranger some help. Is there some labor you struggle with in our village? Oh boy. Do we want to get a double discount on that boat, guys? Free food, free room, free repairs, not that we need it, free bath and laundry, or boat. Yeah, bath might be good. A free bath here would be really useful, actually. Not that we don't have other places that we couldn't go to, but well, I mean, it's the option. It might be very useful for us, but then we'd have more dragon coins than we necessarily need. So I'm actually good for going for the bath. The bath and laundry. That might be great. Um we also could get better clothes as well. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily stack. How about we just get some free baths? Let's do that. That's what we're doing. Severina raises her head and sighs. Aquila helps us with water, and he can ask someone to wash your clothes. His work has him walking around the entire village, but look for him on the eastern bank, close to the pier. Great. She glances at the exit. About the lost... Actually, I put the gate key on her desk. The undead from your tunnel are gone. We don't necessarily need to keep that key. As she drags the key over the desk, it looks comically large in her tiny hands. Now, would you look at that, she says to no one in particular, then looks you in the eyes. You face this threat for no good reason. I already told you I wasn't planning to work on the tunnel. She scratches the desk with the key, thinking, but I ain't going to deny that it opens some opportunities. My neighbors are going to appreciate your selfless efforts. She tries to push the key into the nearby bags, but is suddenly interrupted by the voice of the perfumed guard, who speaks directly to you. I used to be the head of the garrison that kept the tunnel safe. He steps towards you, until it was left to itself 10 years ago, against my advice. I don't care if you're a road warden, an adventurer, or a drifter. You deserve a reward, and if our head woman ain't willing to reward your contribution... He reaches for the belt that holds his sickle sword, and Severina, with unmasked frustration, tells him to hold it. Don't get so dramatic. Here. She tosses a small pouch and it lands at the edge of the desk. 10 should be enough, considering you weren't asked to move as much as a finger. Scat and talk to Luno, our digger. She'll have some grand plans coming to her soul. Maybe you'll manage to keep them on a leash. I already talked with her. I'm just here to leave the key with you. She glances at the exit. Okay, we made money. I wasn't expecting that. I think the guard rather likes him. Yeah. So we have even more money now. Yay. About the lost merchants. You found something? They were robbed by Glaucia. Her gaze is grim, but after a simple "I see," she reaches for a pouch, then puts 5 dragon bones in a single row and pushes them forward. Thank you for your assistance. You don't sound surprised. She looks at her granddaughter, who, without even noticing, has lowered her crossbow. I asked Glaucia about this very thing I did, Severina admits. I don't think you're mistaken, Roadwarden. It's a natural step on her path, but it means she lied to our people, and I won't be able to avoid the confrontation. Still, I'm grateful to learn it. I nod and take the coins. So we've made even more money. We've got 60 coins now. The fuck? We're rich. We're definitely going to buy some new clothes. I'm trying to learn more about High Island. Then you should ask someone interested in old tales. We forbid our fishers to swim near it, and our neighbors ain't challenging us on this. She reaches for one of the tablets and notes something quickly as she carries on. And as she carries on, she sounds disinterested more than frustrated. The volcano there erupts rarely and merely hits us with the tides. We have nothing to gain from those woods but claws and thorns, and even getting to the land is a dangerous task. Thanks. Farewell. Ooh. Before you leave the hall, Severina asks you to wait. The people of our village are sharing good rumors about you, she starts. Quite a feat it is. If you're as much of a hard worker as I've heard, maybe you'll find a way to restore something we lost to an actual vagabond. Not a young lad, called himself Pyros, was staying with us almost half a summer ago and one day left before sunrise, carrying away our iron ingot. Her granddaughter gives her a silent but pained look. If he had any sort of wits, I'm sure he left the peninsula a long time ago, through the eastern route, or died trying, but maybe he was dumber than I thought. You ask what exactly she wants you to do, and she responds without hesitation. Merely return the ingot. It was nothing more than crude iron, not something to murder each other for, but still, she points at you with her stylus. A sin worthy of a coward, and believe me, not the first robbery that's happened to us. I'll let you know if I find it. Well, The armorer. I believe we can buy cross arrows. I'm gonna buy arrows. We're getting low. So I'm gonna buy arrows. Cool. We got arrows. Yep, they step away. So that means we now have 10. That's good. Let's go to the tailor. Is everything fine? What can you do for me? Yep, nope, nothing here. Okay, thanks. Let's go to the cook. I'd like a meal. Yeah, we don't have enough to barter for food rations, so that's fine. The bathman. You find him while he's collecting empty buckets around the village, ready to carry them to his regular spot at the bridge. What is it, outsider? Got dirty. Yeah, we do not have to pay for baths. Yay. We get washed up. We're now much nicer now. All right. We still have lots of time in the day. So let's go deal with this howler monkey situation now that we have a way to do so. Yeah. We're gonna do it. Here we go, guys. It's good to know about the achievement. I'm not worried about achievements at all. Even the loud crickets can't hide the loud splash of a creature that just jumped into the lake. The howlers are yelling at you from among the leaves, giving you quite a headache. The smallest of them are swinging their arms or hanging from the branches by their tails, while a few larger ones get on the ground, getting a bit too close. You plug your ears quickly. I try to scare the howlers away. You're yards away from the closest tree. The howlers are climbing, swinging, browsing the leaves, and seeking bugs in the meadow. Only a few of them pay attention to you. You could start with an attack from a distance, but there's no way for you to take down an entire pack. The best you can hope for is scaring them off. So, it's a job for our crossbow. We cast a few rocks for them, or we rather get closer. I don't even have the option. Is it in the inventory that I must use it? Oh yeah, we do need to go to them. Okay. No. Um, hmm. I think we need to cast the, like, I don't know. We've never successfully done anything good with this. So, I mean, I can read its description. It says, and I quote, the purpose of the horn depends on its loudness as well as its origins. Brass horns, as representatives of technological capabilities of humans, are ceremoniously used by the United Church, while the status assigned to an animal horn is usually based on the threat presented by its original owner. When it comes to the more practical side of things, the quieter, easier to use horns are introduced during theatrical or musical performances, while the louder ones are blown to send a warning to a distant group, in cities, for example. Different horns are attached to unique signals related to such events as fire, flying beasts, plagues, or floods. The horn you possess doesn't look too impressive and most likely didn't belong to an actual dragon, but its terrifying sound would worry even the largest of beasts, at least until they realize it's not followed by shaking ground and breaking trees. It looks like one of the instruments that, in the not so distant past, were used to exchange messages between neighboring villages. That's what we know. Um, I'm going to cast a few rocks and see what happens. That's what we're doing. You hit a few of them. Three of the monkeys shout at everything in sight with an outraged complaint, then start to point at you. They howl even louder. A few even jump the branches, the largest ones on the grass. I move forward. The confused howlers step back, not sure why you are not running away. I blow the dragon horn. We now have it. So let's see if this works. You press the horn to your lips, and after the first failed attempt, you fill the grasslands and the lake with the terrifying shout of a monster. The howls get higher and whinier, and some of the beasts leap away. One of the larger ones flees through the meadow, shouting in panic. The smaller monkeys start cuddling, hiding their faces, or disappear behind the tree trunk. Those on the ground take the first few steps forward, but they keep looking at each other, waiting for one of them to start. Time for the confrontation. You get dizzy, but try to keep your movements swift and confident. The muffled sounds, while annoying, remain at the edge of your senses. You leap forward, reaching for the shield and axe. It's the only option we had. You clash with one of the creatures, and the weapons land on its shoulder. Your axe cuts fairly deeply. The beast jumps away, screaming, then tries to get away on its three other limbs. You make a few dangerous swings, keeping the other beasts at a distance. They try to surround you, but you manage to keep up with them, and the shield helps you focus on the more vulnerable parts of your defense. You are in control. I turn towards the next opponent. You look around, but no more creatures try to approach you. You step forward and raise your blade. The wounded monkeys run away, and the others follow them soon after. They don't look back. You doubt they'll forget the threat you pose. I put away my weapons. See? It worked. The dragon horn helped. You return to a grazing soda pop, and I search the area, looking for any traces of the owner of the rawhide. After half an hour, you find no corpse, but the trail of the fight tells you enough. A human was dining near the tree. A large cat jumped them and dragged them through the meadow north. For a few minutes, you follow the broken blades of tall grasses, losing track more than once, deceived by the paths used by howlers, which are now following your march anxiously. You reach a gully, then to a thick forest growing in a cauldron shaped basin. The branchy trees are taller than three houses, placed on one another. The beast dragged the human through the thicket, and the scratched skin left blood on the edges of the twigs. You consider walking in, but as you look around, the howlers are getting more numerous and confident, sitting on every tree in sight, threatening you with their shouts. The path is too overgrown for Soda Pop to follow you. So to enter the woods, I'll need to leave it at Foggy's, or for now I step back. For now I step back, or it's rather clear the huntress can't be helped anymore. Um, we weren't able to confirm one of the bodies because I had a mouse misfunction and clicked through that choice, which I was unhappy about. The second body we didn't found, but it was probably very thoroughly eaten by a corpse eater. So we have um, sign of that particular person's death. I would prefer to bring back word on this one as well. So yeah, we're gonna have to. I'm picking number one. To enter the woods, I'll need to leave it at Foggy's for now, but I step back. Um, for non subscribers, there's an ad in about a minute, so that's your warning. You approach your bundles. I leave Soda Pop at Foggy's and enter the lair of the Howlers. We got this, guys. We got this. There's Foggy's. You're more used to Soda Pop's trot than your own gait. You rush forward as if you're tracking your next meal or delivering a message. After a few minutes, the light dancing on the calm surface of the lake lures your eyes, and the whispering meadow calms down your breath. So, is this a fine opportunity for a stroll, or I need no calming down? The less time I spend on the road, the better. My opinion is that we should probably keep alert. We found the bodies of both the boys, so we, by process of elimination, can say that this is probably the female of the two. Yeah. You warm up your shoulders and focus on any movement that could belong to a lurking beast. You reach the trail of blood again, then the gully. The shadows cast by the trees make you aware, but not worried. You make sure your belts and cords are properly attached. The axe's handle is solid, the head is firmly attached. Having no horse, you find a way to squeeze through the thicket, and I walk down into the valley. That's true, Trav, but we also know that the rawhide that we've been carrying around for a while is also used by people of creeks. And since the only people missing from creeks are these three hunters, as far as we know, it's likely that this is the huntress from that group of three. Um, we have found the bodies of both the men, so it could only be her. Like, this is a process of elimination. It's definitely the huntress sort of situation. I'm not saying that you are incorrect. I'm just saying that per the game's logic, this is why I think that they've decided it is already the huntress in the writing. Just FYI. Not much light gets through the tree crowns. The cauldron shaped basin is filled with howls of monkeys and chirping of insects. As soon as you enter the lair, hundreds of throats burst up in threats and worries. Some of the monkeys run away, others gather in groups, following your movements like a loyal squad. Their gurgling is distracting, but as you look through the darkness, there are countless more black and golden furs letting out the ghastly cries. This distant army is hardly aware of your arrival. Most of them eat, sleep, or groom their companions. You follow the trail of blood, but it only leads further downhill. Your head starts to spin from the overwhelming noise. Better not to linger. I follow the trail, putting trust in the earplugs. Yeah, no, I understand what you mean, Trav, but so close to Foggy's, considering how little the other villages send people out, the only other people it might be is someone from White Marshes at this point. Yeah, I understand why the game logic is saying it's definitely the huntress. I'm just saying, I know that you're trying to argue a reasonable point. It's just this is game land logic. It's not reality at all. The sound gets gentler in your ears, but no matter how much you try, your thoughts keep returning to the vibrations in your head and stomach. and the blunt pain that grows slowly. Your plugged ears may keep you safer, but not for long. The first large monkey touches the ground, but after you raise your axe and show your teeth, it climbs back up again. Though you right away notice a similar movement on the other side. Nothing attacks you just yet. It's obvious that you or any human could never single handedly put an end to such a grand pack of creatures. But if you broke through their strike, maybe the rest would be too afraid to push on, especially if they remember what happened to them the last time. So, we may never get so far again. We need to use this opportunity, or are we going to be a coward because there's no way the huntress survives such blood loss in the Valley of Monsters and get back to Foggies? No need to put ourselves in danger. Do we push forward or do we fall back? Um, I agree, Trav. I'm all for at least trying to save one of them. We have not been able to save the other two, and we feel bad about that. Though, to be fair, we didn't get this quest until quite late in the game. Oh, welcome back, Winter Fairy. Forward we go. We've got health, we've got nourishment, we can fix our own armor. Let's go. The monkeys observe you with respect, pouting their lips and growling, but keeping their distance for quite a few breaths. Soon, the first monster falls from a high branch, breaking through the foliage of shrubs, then leaps at you with a shout. You reach for anything that could be assistance to you. So, before our force options, we have the option of one, if anything jumps at me, I'll push it away with my shield. Two, not much time to aim, but I can stop one of the charging beasts with my crossbow. Or three, I'm out of options. I move forward relying solely on my axe. That's before the force option. With the force option, we just get time to put our training into practice. So, I'm going to leave the force option on. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Training, shield, crossbow, axe. Notice how we do not have any dies in front of all of these. So this is a pick one, it'll probably work situation. It's not a variable will work. Trav says shield, don't juggle weapons. That's fair. That's fair. Winter Fairy, what do you think? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Training, shield, crossbow, axe. Time for some ASMR as I fill up my water. Winter Fairy agrees with the shield. All right, time to shield. You do so once or twice, but you can't move forward while putting so much effort into defense. After a minute or so, you change your strategy and start to use the shield to run through groups of enemies. Those who don't spread out right away turn out to be too inexperienced in warfare, and once you bash into them, they land under your boots. It's an exhausting strategy, but once you return to simpler blocks, a few of the groups have already backed down. The forest gets darker, but the trail of blood is still easy to follow, which may not be a good sign. All right. So, we have three options. Training is once again an option. Crossbow is also once again an option, or axe. So, training, crossbow, or axe. We have used up what we can do with the shield. 1, 2, or 3, training, crossbow, or axe. Chat, you know what to do. Trav starts off the vote with 1, training. Winter Fairy, do you agree? She does. It's fantastic. Time to put our training into practice. With a few dancing steps, you shorten the distance between you and the nearest beast. Confused, it tries to catch you, but you effortlessly elude it. Then put all your strength into turning around, and your wide swing lands on the creature's back. It falls to the ground, but you're already far behind it. A few of the monkeys climb back in the trees, and as you go further, the pressure weakens. The trail of blood gets weaker, and you estimate that the middle of the valley is already behind you. Trav says it's axe time. We could pull out our crossbow, but Trav says it's axe time. Shall we axe these monkeys a question? Or 3, or 4, or 5? What do you think, Winter Fairy? Axe time or no axe time? Crossbow or axe? That is axe, since there's no time to aim. Yeah, there's just no time to aim. There's too many of them. I'm out of options. I move forward relying solely on my axe. Okay, we took a hit to our gamison, but not bad. We're also now filthy, but that's fine. Your head starts to ache from all the howls and shouts. Your face is covered in sweat. Holding your axe, you duck, leap, sprint, and at one point manage to reach the final group. You swing left and right, hoping to squeeze through the wall of black and golden furs. Then a strong arm clasps around your waist and throws you. You hit the ground where animal feet trample your shell. You shout, gathering the remains of your strength. You release your arm, and the blade hits the beast's legs, shoulders, skulls. You can't tell if the blood on your neck is yours. The grasp of the howlers falters. You stand up and run for it, and the whining pack doesn't follow. What do I find at the end of the trail? It leads you to a lone, treeless, rocky mound at the edge of the valley. The light falls on the short grasses and flowers growing around the pale human bones. The flesh is almost scraped clean, and the few ravens feasting on them lazily move aside, at first observing you, then preening their feathers. The remains are resting in a pool of dark blood, now serving as a breeding ground for worms. The torn clothes are spread around, most of them made of leather and rawhide. The howls reach you again. The monkeys may be far away, but their presence is overwhelming. You can't prepare a pyre with the constant increasing pain in your head and stomach, but your plugged ears may give you enough time to look around. So, what do we do, chat? We could press the dragon horn to our lips and blow as hard as we can, which may give us a bit more time to do some things here. We could look for the beast that brought the shell here. We could search her possessions. We could attempt to collect the bones to carry them with us. It's the only corpse we've been able to recover so far. Or we could get out. We found her. That should be enough. I think it's sad that all three of them are missing. All three of them died. We could not help any of them. Ugh. The brothers are going to be so sad. You want us to look for the beast that brought it here? Because that's just, I think that option is alluding that we are going to get revenge for her death. But seeing as the howler monkeys howl and that's what causes you to have problems, I honestly believe that blowing the dragon horn to clear them out a little bit more might be for the best. Collecting her bones also, I would be willing to do. I mean, I would love to search her possessions, but now is not the time. Just scoop up everything you can get and go. Horn, then try to get a possession for proof, then move bones so they don't get up again. Yeah, I agree, Trav. I think that's probably a good idea. Let's blow the horn and see if we can't clear out these monkeys a little bit. The terrifying shout of a monster hits the trees and fills their shadows. There are still some anxious growls coming from the larger beasts, now clenching to the tree trunks, but the more distant howls don't hurt you as much. You wipe the sweat off your forehead. You may be the center of attention, but you doubt anything is going to oppose you now. Let's search her possessions. The now soggy club with an unusual row of teeth carved on its edge is of no value to you. There's no sack or bag in sight, and after you investigate the clothes, you estimate that the only unspoiled, undamaged thing is the pretty belt buckle made of yellowish bone, carved into the shape of a jumping boar. You hide it in your pocket. Ever since you used the dragon horn, your stomach and head have been calming down. I collect the bones to carry them with me. Since they're detached from each other, you shove them all into a sack. The skull, spine, ribs, pelvis, too many of them to wonder if they're complete. They're warm from the sun. The stench of rotten blood is gut-wrenching, and you gladly step away from it. No, because we unfortunately did not recover anything from the blue-eyed boy that we told to get out. We also did not like I accidentally clicked through that particular event because of a mouse misfunction and ran away from it. So we could not do anything about that. We unfortunately do not have confirmation, but we do have what we've seen. So do we look for the beast that brought the shell here, which I believe was a cat, or do we leave? One or two, chat. What shall we do? I'm counting on both of you. What do we think, chat? Tracking down a predator? No, not worth the time. It could be anywhere. Winter Fairy says, let's go, let's get it. I don't know why a cat would drag its prey into the middle of howler monkey territory. Unless the howler monkeys did the dragging, I'm not entirely certain. But, you know what? I'm going for it. Yeah, they do drag up in trees. We didn't find her body in a tree, though. Count. We found it in a puddle of her own liquids on the ground. I'm just gonna go for it. I mean, it could be that the cat dragged the body this way. The howler monkeys got pissy at the cat in its territory and may have gone after the cat. Not entirely certain, but here we go. We're gonna look for it because that's what I've decided, and that's what Winter Fairy wants. And I like indulging every once in a while. You spot not a single wolf, bear, or cat. The paw prints surrounding the corpse are so muddled that they're hard to identify, yet are so fresh that you should worry about them. One thing that catches your attention is that there are no marks of ape feet anywhere nearby. Ever since you used the dragon horn, your stomach and head have been calming down. All right, time to leave. You hold your head briefly, hoping it will stop spinning, then rush towards the gully. The monkey's howls are both painful and desperate, which seem proper while you run through the blood and shells of their pack members. Once you reach the meadow, you gasp for breath, and your gut stops twisting your soul. You glance at the belt buckle. There's nothing extraordinary, but may be worth a dragon or two. The large sack of human remains, however, is going to bother you with its rattling. You stay for a bit in the middle of the road, unpack your sacks, then tie together as many bones as you can and hide them again. Let's hope they won't form an undead once they get touched by a fog. Ephron will surely appreciate your efforts. So, in this moment, how do we feel about this? Do we feel that Ephron had better appreciate and generously so, or did we do it to keep the roads safer? Uh, True, Trav. It's a very similar reaction. Although, to be fair, the reaction of the ruined of Steep House, which is now what we know it was called, is more from the stench of the place than the sound. Um, but it is a very similar reaction. Yes. Yeah, we know he won't appreciate enough. Yeah, we did it because they were worried about missing people, so we did it to keep the road safer. It's really sad about all three of those. The light shines on the water and the empty road with no herbal beds or travelers in sight. The tavern looks like an abandoned hamlet. The tavern staff is sitting on the stairs enjoying the light and silence as they share a roasted fish. We will be sleeping here because it is late and there's no place to sleep in creeks. So let's fix up our gamison. We have the decorative buckle. Um, so there we go. Our outfit is good. We have human bones. We could destroy the bones. But I actually think that it might be nice to bring them to Creeks and let them have a funeral pyre. We have 2 out of the 3 tokens for Lost Hunters. Unfortunately, I had a mouse misfunction that clicked through the original event of finding one of the hunters in the heart of the forest, and then we did not get any. We did not get his stuff from the blue-eyed man that was once a member of Glaucia's band that we told to get out of Dodge. We could have asked for it. I think we might have been able to ask for it, but he did not give us any sign. So yeah, we have 2 out of the 3, which is unfortunate. But I could not fix my gamison inside the tavern because it's technically considered to be in conversation with Foggy, so I had to do it outside. We can confirm that none of them are coming back and why. So, we will enter the tavern and get some sleep. We'll save eating for morning. Yeah, no. I would like to... Oh, shit. I just said we would save that, and then I didn't. That's fine. We still have another 2 meals. I'm an idiot. But we had roasted trout, a boiled egg, and a bowl of broad beans. Delicious. Yeah, let's sleep. It's nighttime now. You have plenty of space and many furs to choose from, and the staff will help you take care of your mount's filth. Foggy offers you to rest here for free. Sleep. The rains once again hit the ground, interrupting your sleep. Another day of muddy roads. Muddy roads are the worst. Takes forever to get places. We will eat again. To which we get roasted badger meat with mushroom sauce and a bowl of simple cabbage soup. Oh, that sounds amazing. Don't you guys agree? But yeah, we're in great health. We've got great nourishment. Our armor is as good as we can get it for the time being. It is time for us to go. Yum. Yes, exactly. So we're going to go to Creeks and tell Ephron about the hunters. I don't know either if Badger is gamey. Yeah, we do need a bath, but we can get a bath as we go in. So, free bath. A few scantily clad people are standing on the bridge greeting you as you ride by. On your way to the gate, a flock of sparrows takes off from the road, landing either on the watchtower or on a tree to your right. You're going to approach this shallow creek and do some washing up. With the calming sounds of the waterfall around you, you observe the stream, as clean as a spring. We're going to jump into the stream, because there are no fish or plants to bother with, and your feet find mud among the not always smooth pebbles. The water reaches above your waist, allowing you to have some fun and wash every spot of your shell. Thanks to the gentle flow, you are able to remove the mud stains from your clothes and boots, but we will also remove the mud stains, because there's no reason to look that gross. Thanks to the bridge, soaking, pounding, and rubbing the fabric goes smoothly. And then we step away. Do we want to help the locals for a couple of coins before we go talk to Hila and Ephron? Do we want to make some moolah? I mean, we have a lot, but we don't. That doesn't mean we can't use more. Shall we make some money, chat? It's a yes or no in chat. That's the vote. Yes, money, no, no money. We got better things to do. All right, we're making money. Chat says so. And Count, I agree with your sentiment. It's Ephron's going to feel guilty because he sent the 3 of them on that challenge. But they died doing what they wanted to do with their life. They just kind of bit off more than they could chew, unfortunately. So, like, I feel terrible for Ephron and the loss for Creeks, but, like, they were happy, as far as we know. So, I don't know. Yeah. Adventurous foragers. The locals would like to search for food in an area they haven't entered in a few years, ever since the last dragonling attack. This task will take you an entire day and make it dangerous. Variable health, variable cleanliness. We're going to be hungry, but we can make money. It turns out you don't have much to do. You get your job done quickly and with little difficulty. So, yes. We made some money, but we don't have much time left, and we just need to jump in the stream real quick. We're otherwise good. Ephron. He's just returning from a trip to the area behind the northern palisade, holding a hare in his hands. As you get closer, he spares you a polite smile. Good to see you in one piece, traveler. Indeed. I do like that one too. About the hunters. Oh, we still need to find Admon. Dang it. Any good news? Do you recognize this knife? He reaches for it without thinking twice, then brings it close to his face, studying the tiny details of the bone. I do, he whispers. It belonged to Admon's mother. He lowers it and holds it tightly. But she's not around anymore. Where was it? He interrupts your tale many times, but having little knowledge to spare, you can't satisfy his curiosity. So there's no shell, only a ghoul. Everyone knows what that means. He'll wake up soon. He shakes his head as if to drop the thought. Do we say it may be so, or do we stay quiet? What do we think, chat? It may be so, or do we stay quiet? Yeah, we did not find his shell. Not entirely certain we could have. Count starts off the vote with number 1. Trav says number 2, stay quiet. He's already thinking it, no need to push it. Oh, we already killed the corpse eater. So, we didn't find his body there, so the ghoul may be wandering around already. We don't know. Winterfairy also says to stay quiet. One bit of bad news isn't all, maybe the others are fine. Something bad has happened to Veskel. You explained that the shell was in the deep woods, in an area where you'd heard they were heading, and they were beyond help. He keeps chipping in until you tell him to listen to the end. He respects your wish, though he frowns so much that you wonder if he can see you. He observes you for a few moments, then lets out a sigh. You're not making it easy on me, friend. He looks into your eyes, then lowers the wolf's mouth. I guess all I have is your word. Dang it, I feel bad. I'm just gonna stay silent again. That seems like the most appropriate, and I'm not gonna make you guys vote. Thanks for your help, friend. After these words, Ephron is unusually quiet. Dahlia is gone. This time he listens patiently, knowing you are saying as much as you can. Caught by a cat, buried by howls, a grim, violent tale. He looks around. Let's hope there are no eavesdropping children in sight, he says emphatically. But as no one responds, he carries on. But do you have anything to prove your words? Well, I'm not even going to make us a vote on this one because we have both the bones and the belt. Yeah. I'm not even... There's no vote. We're just going to hand it over because that's what we do. That's what Sauron does. We went through all the trouble to get it. What in the troll shit? He steps away as you try to handle the sack. What? Take it and burn it. He points at the ground, and you place the sack there. He grabs it only to turn it around. Let's not show it to children before the burning, he whispers, but after a few breaths, his confidence returns. I'd recognize that buckle anywhere. Dahlia had a gift, was ready to give up the hunt if it would mean more craft time for her. But honestly, friend, her siblings and uncle will be glad she's not coming back as an awoken. I'm glad, or every human deserves a proper pyre. This one I will give a vote for. 1 is glad, 2 is pyre. 1 is glad, 2 is pyre. Trav says 2. Count says I'm feeling 2, but not being able to do the other 2 feels like it might hurt. Yeah. Winter Fairy says 2 as well. Every human deserves a proper pyre. This is your minute warning for non-subscribers. I don't think we have any right now, but I'm getting in the habit. Well, we had a deal, and you did your part. Thanks, I think. He puts an open palm on his forehead and closes his eyes. Once he notices that the wolf's head obstructs his fingers, he takes it off. Vasquel liked this head. His voice is empty. He told me he'd get an even larger one. He looks at you. There are tears in his eyes, yet his voice is absent. Yes, we had a deal. I'll join you on your own venture when the time comes, but I need to first close this ordeal. You ask him what he needs, but he puts on the hood and quirks his lips into a shadow of a smile. Nothing from you, friend. I already spoke with the others. The wood is ready for a pyre. We've meat to roast. You did a lot for our little tribe, and we'd love to see you at our table. There may be some tears among us, but there will be laughter, songs, and enough of Foggy's cast to forget a thing or two. I can't promise anything, but... You suddenly realize the opportunity at hand. A group of vulnerable, dazed souls may open their ears to your requests if you're on their good side and know enough about them. It'll be a perfect moment to offer them a covenant with Hovlavin. I'm sure I can spare an evening. I assume it's Ela who's preparing it. I'll speak with him when I'm ready. You don't keep us waiting for too long, I may be in your debt, but I want to put all of this behind me. Focus on what's to come. I know, Trav. It feels so dirty. Well, and here's the thing, though, is that considering the struggle of creeks, they're not as well situated as Howler's Dell. They could use the trade, but at the same time, it feels like we are using and abusing their trust. Yeah, I know. It's... But anyway, do you know any creatures that live on High Island? How could I, friend? I haven't been there. He suddenly looks to the sky, raises his hand, and starts to tap the top of the wolf's head. But the harpies, aye, they're common on the coast, and on open waters. I saw them from Gale Rock's beach. Rocks and sticks don't fly well when thrown upward. A bow would be a safer bet. All right. I walk away. Have a good hunting. We're gonna go to Ela. He's removing bark from a large log, throwing it into a pile of wood in the center of the square. He smiles and puts away his tools. Welcome back, friend. Good to see that you stay safe on the roads. I have made some additional progress in the eastern paths. Were there even more issues? I'm listening. I cleared the bushes leading east of the old stone bridge. His eyes widen and he looks left and right, then whispers, "Why would you do such a thing? Someone may now think there's a path there." Is that really an issue? Shit. He reacts both to your question and the awkward cut he made with his chisel. He puts away the tool loudly. Folks aren't supposed to go to the Green Mountain. We've made a pact to leave them alone. And what? You think there's a traitor out there who'll climb up the mountain? He stands up, accompanying his rising voice. Next time, think before you act. After a few minutes, he returns with a wooden plank, but doesn't meet your eyes. I'm sorry, friend. Forgive my cowardice. Take this and leave it somewhere on the trail at the bridge, will you? Maybe tie it to a tree? He hands you an old sign covered with dark reddish paint. Blood there, you think. Then ask him if it's not too dark. It's the only paint we can squeeze out from the plants of our meadows, he admits and gets back to his work. Yeah, I can do that. I'm surprised you keep finding things to do. This land really is a mess. I'll let you know if there's anything else. Let's talk about the patrols you want to pay me for. Yeah. His carving slows down. What's the matter, friend? I know from old Hava that your tribe needs your contact with Foggy more than I need your coin. 2 dragons for a day isn't enough. He thinks about your words for a moment before he surrenders. So be it, 3 it is. Okay. I was told to speak with you about the funeral rites. Let's begin the preparations. Everything's ready, friend. We'll be glad to have you at our side. Are we gouging him? No, I don't think we're gouging him necessarily. Having a steady pay will definitely help. And we've cleared out the howlers from the northern road as well, so we've gone through a lot of trouble. We could use enough pay to at least be able to pay for goods when we need it. I don't think we're necessarily gouging him. He was paying too low. He really was. But anyway, everything's ready, friend. We'll be glad to have you at our side. So, are we honored to be invited, or do we think about Havlavin and its goals for the peninsula? Chat. Are we going to be respectful about this funeral pyre, or are we going to do what Havlavin wants us to do? The chat unanimously agrees that we are honored to be invited. I agree. We are not going to be assholes. I don't feel bad about our negotiations with Theus for Howler's Dell because she's ambitious, and that is definitely an ambition she wants to happen. This feels way wrong, way more wrong to pester grieving people about a trade negotiation. Just gross. So I'm honored to be invited. We're gonna be good people. Oh, what lovely art. Look at that. The rites take little time and go by without prayers, singing, or sacrifices. The family members share their memories and regrets. Every story you hear is vague, yet accompanied by understanding nods and looks shared among the tribe, as well as chuckles and tears that start long before the conclusion. After the years you spent in Havlavin, it's hard for you to imagine how familiar and intimate all the people around you are. Even Foggy and her staff are paying a visit this evening. The tavern is closed. You now sit at a table, and the first few meals are brought in. The bowls are mostly filled with meat, but it's the humble loaves of bread, slices of cheese, herb sauces and smoked fish, and wild fruits that disappear first. The warmth of the bonfire is reaching your hands and face, comforting you whenever a cold gust of wind hits the square. The belt buckle is disappearing in a growing pile of ash. The bones you collected are cracking hauntingly from the heat. But that doesn't stop the cooks from piercing chunks of game meat with long sticks and holding them to the flames. So, do we have 2 ways of experiencing this moment. We could experience it in such a way as there may be no priest, but we share the solemnity of the moment, the solemnness of it, or we could focus on the food. Count starts off the vote with 1. Winterfairy agrees, putting the ones in the lead. Yeah, Trav, it's a funeral. We are going to be solemn and respectful. We respect this house, and we have respect in this house for the dead. The wood cracks beneath the flames. You've never seen the village of Creeks as quiet as it is now, but the way the locals face their mourning is anything but lonely. Pats on the back or hands are common, as well as long embraces and whispered condolences. As time goes on, more and more people rest on the stools and chairs, though there are few exceptions. An old man with no legs is lying on a blanket, served by a girl who seems to be his great granddaughter. One of the hunters steps away to get back on the watchtower, keeping an eye out for any being that may be lured by the noises. Soshi is sitting in front of a building, singing about the forests of the past and the gardens of tomorrow. The cooks are bustling about, bringing supplies from the house of gatherings and taking care of the roasting meat. Most of the children are only half awake. As the cups get filled with mead, ale, and cider, brought here by Foggy, Ephron is the first person to sit down next to you, and loudly, though he's still observing the flames. His wolf cloak is nowhere in sight, though from time to time he reaches towards his head as if he's not used to the wind brushing his black hair, now shining in the dancing light. Judging by the way he sways and how absent his eyes are, he opened one of the casks a few hours back. Yeah, this is no Irish wake, as Count definitely points out. It's a more solemn, quiet affair, but it is still an affair filled with warmth and love and community. So, as much as it's not quite the Irish wake party, it is definitely a party. So, do we ask Ephron how he's holding up, or do we ask him where his hood is? One is how you holding up, and two is hood. Where's your hood? How or where? Indeed, Count. Which is very kind of you to do. Winter Fairy says one. Ask how he's holding up. Count agrees. The ones are in the lead. One. If he isn't wearing it, there's probably a good reason. Decent chance it's on fire. I don't think it's on fire. I think he just left it at home to dress up a little bit. Yeah, the head of the hood just keeps reminding him, we know it's put away. Yeah, I think that's what happened. How are you holding up? I'm using my privilege of being still alive to heal. He starts with confidence, but then his voice cracks. Folks say I did nothing wrong, but, I could have, said no, stopped them. And I've seen how. What's her face? Dahlia's little sis looks at me. She's only 10, and now alone. I'm as useful as a spirit. Once you figure out what he's talking about, you try to respond, but he interrupts you by pointing at you with his mug. I'm now in your debt, We're going on a journey? His eyes shift into anger. I was losing my wits waiting for this evening. You kept me for so long, waiting. Can't you see those were my friends? As he rambles, his thoughts wander off somewhere else, and before he gets back to you, Ela gives him a pat on his back and places a full mug in front of you. Do we smell the contents before we drink anything? Do we chug it? Or do we mention to Ela, I'm not getting drunk tonight? At the moment, Count, he's grieving so hard he can't think about anybody else but his own guilt. If he wants to be useful, I don't think he wants to be useful so much as to escape the guilt. Trav says drink it. Don't be suspicious of it. Join them. Don't stay apart. I think we don't really have anything against getting drunk. We accepted a free drink at Pelt of the North, clearly. Although we did decide against it the second time round. So yeah, let's join in. Maybe we can help Ephron by getting drunk with him. Yeah, we don't have to keep drinking. That's true. All right, everyone says chug it, so let's frat party this up. Chug, 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 chug. You hardly manage to get through half of the mug, almost spitting it out. The distinct malts are heavy, and after a few gulps, burn your mouth. The beverage is much stronger than most beers and ales you've tasted, and for now you put it away, resting your forehead on an open palm as you try to forget your mistake. The hunter bursts into laughter, luring interested folks from his melancholic tribe, while the carpenter simply smiles, grabs himself a stump, and joins you with his own slow drinking. All three of you stare into the flames, hardly noticing a few more tribesfolk that gather behind you. The carpenter breaks the silence. How are you doing, Sauron? Life's been treating you good in the peninsula? Yep, we made them happy. That's good choice, Trav. So how do we answer his questions? Do we say, I've had some good days, I'm making progress, which is one. 2 is every day is a struggle, I feel stuck. 3 is it's a savage place, Ela, I'm just trying to survive. Or 4 is I don't even think about it, I'll start living once I'm done with what I need to do. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Progress, struggle, survive. No thought. I actually think that 1 or 3 is more our experience in this game. But I actually feel like 1 is probably the closest to our character and the progress that we've made here. I mean, the eastern route, which used to be the most dangerous route, is now one of the safer routes through the area. We did that. We put that together. That is all of our effort. Trav has a really good point. Oh, someone does want it. We could tell the monks. We could tell old Pagos. We could tell, which we have yet to visit after the clearing up the plague. We could tell Howler's Dell. I don't want to give it to Howler's Dell. They have an upper hand enough already. They're kind of assholes now. Well, Theus is. The druids there not as much. Elpis is fine with us now. We could give it to Gale Rocks as well. I haven't actually attempted that. I don't know who I need to speak to there. I don't think I had the option with the head woman. So, yeah, I've been trying to give it to Creeks this whole time. I just haven't figured out how yet. But I think, yeah, primarily because Creeks is the closest, so it would be very much easier for them to go after the copper than any of the other settlements, save for perhaps the tribe of the Green Mountain. But they don't want anything, so. I'm gonna go with 1. I think that's basically the consensus here. Wonderful. He strokes his stomach and meets your eye. Just don't disappear like Asteron. He'd rather chase after something his whole life than walk away with little. Not unlike me, but also tilts his mug, pointing to the mouth of it at the flames. Not unlike them. After a few moments, you realize that almost all the adults are gathered behind you, observing you keenly. As the tension rises, you think about your blade, now resting by your saddlebags. It's Ela who asks the question. We owe you a lot, Sauron. Why do you really help us? We only have one option. This sucks. I would really love the option of because I like you guys, but we don't have that option. So the option that we have is Havlavin wants to reach this land. For your own sake, you should join it. Taxes for their protection, loyalty for the renewed trading route. Old Hava was right, says one of the farmers. So that's why they sent the second one, adds a woodcutter. The fuss stops as quickly as it started, cut by the loud voice of a drunk Ephron. Let the road warden make a case for it. Oh, Ephron, I like you so much. You glance at the eyes of the locals. Some of them are distrustful, others are curious, and a few are excited. Even though you already recognize many of these faces, the dancing flames make them look like a strange crowd awaiting a prophecy. All right, we have so much here. I think we only get one choice at this. So I'm going to go through. We're going to find out what we can say and hope. Our first option is an old druid who lives on the opposite side of the peninsula told me about the recent migrations of beasts in the north. You've been struggling with monsters for decades now. It's finally time for you to seek allies. Which is not untrue. Our second option is I've seen your tools, weapons, houses. You need iron. You need copper. Hovlavin will help you gain steel, bronze, and brass. Also true. Third option. I know you don't have as many supplies as you need. Depending on animals you keep alive to butcher is not a safe way to deal with winters. Not an untrue option. 4 is you don't really believe this wall will keep you safe, do you? Without a forest garden, you lack wood, and you can't afford stone. You need proper guards to protect your homes and lumberjacks. 5 is you want to grow crops, but you have no experience. With the city's help, you may hire a specialist to teach you everything you need to know and invest in the best seeds. 6 is sooner or later a plague will reach your village. Living in isolation will postpone this day, but once it comes, how can you know help will ever come? Your best chance is to keep people like me around. 7 is just look how much work I was able to complete at the Eastern Path. You can't keep it clear all by yourself, but with the city's army and regular merchant trips, it will endure winters and rains. 8 is it's risky, but you know me well. I have your trust. I wouldn't try to trick you, which is a variable option. 9 is maybe I shouldn't try, but Foggy, won't you vouch for me? You know I'm a valuable ally, and the tribe depends on your tavern. The city will bring many more people to help you. Also a variable option. And last but not least, 9 is I should take it directly to the guild, but you want to be sure that your worth is going to be seen and respected. I'll give you something you'll use to gain an edge. I know where you can find copper. The copper option, finally. Yeah, last one. That's what we want. It gives them something to trade. Yeah, no, the copper option. Guys, we found it. Winter Fairy, what do you think? Copper option or Foggy? She may be AFK. I really want to give them the copper. This could revolutionize their entire city, is to have that bit of copper. Yeah, like they could go mine that copper. They're the closest to it. Yeah, we're doing the copper option. I've been trying to give them this copper for like 3 streams now. Let's do it. Oh, we can do multiples. Okay. A few shocked gasps encourage you to continue. You describe the ravine and the opportunities it presents, but before you can propose any plan on how to approach it, Ela is on his feet, spreading his arms, sharing his own ideas on what to do next. After a few minutes of dispute, Ephron calls for everyone to focus. The carpenter is eager to pat you on the back. You clear a new path for the tribe, but there's only a few of us, and we can't know yet how much ore we'll find in these rocks. But sharing this news with us before you take it to the officials, he flashes his smile first towards you, then the rest of the tribe, is a great price to pay for our votes of trust. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. We have more. We could point out the crops. We could say you know me well. We could also point out the Eastern Path. But we get to say more things. So, I kind of want to, I don't know. Oh, actually, I think they would be fine with the fact that the Eastern Path is in use. They've been so isolated from even the rest of the villages in this area that it's absolutely that. Crop specialist may be worth something. Yeah. And then there's Foggy, of course. It looks like we can do multiples of these guys. Like, I don't know how many options we can pick. We may be able to use all of them, but which one next? Which one next? Yeah, do we talk about the old druid, which is 1? Do we do crops, which is 2, or do we do Eastern Path, which is 3? That's the vote. 1 is the druid, 2 is the crops, Eastern Path is, or 2 is the Eastern Paths, 3 is the crops. There we go. 1, 2, or 3. Druid, path, crops. Truth, Chav, but it's fine. Count says druid. Trav says crops. Winter Fairy, you're the tiebreaker. Druid or crops? Crops. Okay. You want to grow crops, but you have no experience. Got it. Old Hava is quick to mention that the fine grain will cost much more than the seeds of wild fruits and vegetables. But as soon as she finishes, one of the hunters confronts her. Hava, you don't always know how to plant these seeds. I've heard about the plant beds having nothing but grass for more than a year. As he mentions it, the other farmers observe their boots, as if to avoid their angry headwoman. Once the argument between the two gets too bitter, Ephron nudges you to go on. All right. Druid or path? A druid or paths? 1 is druid, 2 is paths. Winter Fairy says druid. Trav says druid. I'm assuming Count is going to say druid because he already voted for druid at least once. So, yep, the druid it is. An old druid who lives on the opposite side of the peninsula told me about the recent migrations of beasts in the north. You've been struggling with monsters for decades now. It's finally time for you to seek allies. Beasts don't enter our valley, says one of the hunters, but is quickly shushed. Yet, adds a one-handed farmer harshly, while an herbalist with wavy hair points at the bonfire. And even if it's turning into a prison, some of the locals nod in agreement, but old Hava's tone is far from docile. Better to have a troll in the yard than a dragon in the bed. Well, she's not wrong. Okay. I think we're doing paths next. I know we're cherry picking. Again, I think we might be able to do the majority of these before we run out of options, ability to pick. But yeah, just look how much work I was able to complete at the Eastern Path. You can't keep it clear all by yourself, but with the city's army and regular merchant trips, it will endure winters and rains. Ela eagerly agrees. Your horsemanship got you further than any of us in a long time. One of the hunters interrupts him. But you But you can see that the Roadwarden has never helped us for our sake, They're the city's spy. The carpenter gives him a long look, then carries on slowly. Spy or not, Sauron's past efforts will change our future, and I'm willing to see what else a single Roadwarden can do, not to mention a squad of soldiers. That's fair. Okay, so what's left is tools. Hovlavin will help you gain the ore you need for tools. Supplies, food supplies. Trading for food supplies is 2. 3 is protection, guards. 4 is plague. 5 is but you trust me, right? And 6 is foggy. You trust me. Vouch for me. Well, yeah, but even with the copper vein, they won't have iron. They won't be able to make steel, bronze, or brass without trade. For any non-subscribers, this is your minute-ish warning of an incoming ad. So we have 6 options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tools, supplies, guards, plague, us, foggy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Trav says 2. Supplies. Count says 6. Foggy. Winter Fairy. Supplies or foggy? What do you think? No worries. No worries. I know that you've got kids. Or nap hasn't begun yet. One of the two. Miss Ma'am is teething, so nap time is a little bit difficult. Oh. It's okay, Winter Fairy. At least I'm not making you pick from all of them. Just between Trav and Count's already votes. Yes, Caleb's favorite number is 3, so we could just do guards. Aw, that's very sweet of Caleb. Good job, big brother. He's such a good kid. I suppose I could be the tiebreaker. You know I don't like doing it, chat. You know it. But I could do it. I'm going to do supplies. We'll see if it continues. I know you don't have as many supplies as you need. Depending on animals you keep alive to butcher is not a safe way to deal with winters. Some of them don't meet your eyes, as if to avoid admitting to the days of hunger. Ephron lets out a sigh. At the beginning of summer, I'd say, he pauses to break through the cloud of drink. We had more hunters than ever, but takes a glance at the bonfire and turns back to the crowd quickly, clenching his teeth. Ela observes him for a moment, but doesn't comment on his behavior. We do have a field now. It may not be so bad. The rest of the tribe adds to both sides the argument, though no conclusion is reached. Okay. I believe it's time to call upon Foggy. I think that's our way forward. Chat, is it time to call upon Foggy? Shall we hope that Foggy's love for us will get us our way? I know Count's all for it. What does the rest of you think? Remember, she does like us a lot. We stay for free at her place all the time. Winter Fairy agrees. All right. It's time for Foggy, guys. Foggy, won't you vouch for me? You know I'm a valuable ally, and the tribe depends on your tavern. The city will bring many more people to help you. For a moment, you're convinced that her laughter has put out the fire behind you. Of course, love. You trust the city folk, and I trust you. I'll speak with any official who dares to leave their silk sheets and hit the road. Okay, that may not have helped as much. Okay, well, we're down to 4 options. Tools, guards, plague, trust us. Tools, guards, plague, trust us. 1, 2, 3, or 4. But she did say she trusts us, so, you know. Count says 3, plague. Winter Fairy agrees. Yeah, I mean, we could literally just click, 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 click and see what happens. But, you know, it's more fun to cherry pick this with you guys. This is a great conversation. Yeah, probably, Trav. It seems to be the way. All right, well, we're going to do plague because that's what got voted the most. If you're so eager, maybe it's you who should stay around, mentions Soshi, but her herbalist friend shakes her head. We need not one soul, but a way to find many in its place. Plagues are stronger than one's shell and will. Even though she says so, a many in the tribe gives you warm smiles. I mean, we did spend the day with them at the being naked and together one afternoon. I don't know. I think there's a bit of wanderlust in Sauron that he's not necessarily going to stay in one place, but would he eventually retire and settle down to have kids? Absolutely. I think Creeks has definitely found the way into at least our hearts, if not Sauron's specifically. All right. Well, I'm gonna do two. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go for it. I've seen your tools, weapons, houses. You need iron. You need copper. Hovlavin will help you gain steel, bronze, and brass. A dark-skinned builder crosses her arms. We've got no smiths either. No furnaces. No place to learn. You mentioned that there are always artisans looking for work. Apprentices, maybe. Boggy corrects you. At least you may be sure that they will have enough arms to assist your labor and enough years left to stay with you for a long time, or then forget about smiths. You can buy tools and blades instead of alloys. Count says 1. Yeah. Winter Fairy agrees. I mean, even if they are apprentices, at the very least, there are more people to help creeks thrive. And we both know that Ela is all about being an artisan and that being the thing. So having, yeah. 2 is more expensive, but doesn't give them weird outsiders moving in and outnumbering them. That's fair, but they need to get their population up regardless, Trav, if they want to survive out here. So even apprentice nails will help. Indeed, indeed. I'm going to go with 1. That's the consensus. You note approving looks among the youth. Fresh blood is of value, says a forager, and Ela encourages them with a smile. And after what I've heard about the city guilds, I don't think an apprentice would be a lazy good for nothing. Indeed, Count. Kids would have time to learn the right kind of weird. Yeah, it's a tiny population out here. They need new blood. You don't really believe this wall will keep you safe, do you? Without a forest garden, you lack wood, and you can't afford stone. You need proper guards to protect your homes and lumberjacks. Our wall has been enough so far, starts one of the farmers, but his partner, now holding an arm around his back, is more doubtful. We lost children, chicken, and food to the smaller beasts. We don't have enough eyes to watch everything. Hila chips in with enthusiasm. If we hope to grow our families or invite new folks, we'll need more homes, more ground, a new wall. I'd rather have it be a strong one. Some still of the locals would rather see more effort put into the new fields rather than a wall. One bad fire in the forest and we go hungry, mentions a forager, and a few others agree. It's risky, but you know me well. I have your trust. I wouldn't try to trick you. Or I have nothing more to add. Do we gamble again, guys? Or do we just leave it here and find out what happens next? Count says 1. I have nothing more to add. Trav says 2. Roll the dice. Winter Fairy, I think it comes down to you or me again. More ASMR incoming with water pour. Winter Fairy also says roll the dice. Dice rolling, we go. One of the hunters nods with conviction and licks his lips before he speaks. Roadwarden is a friend of our tribe, he starts, and many eyes come from other parts of the square. Brief anecdotes focused on your deeds and words serve you well, but Ephron reaches for his absent hood and scoffs. We ought to listen to strong thoughts, not soft hearts, he says loudly, but the majority of the group dismisses his point. Hey, Ephron, I thought you liked us. Yeah, they never are. It just is, there is a variable there. But I actually think that we'd done enough for creeks that it was a low chance of failure. So, I have nothing more to add. Then it's time for the discussion and the vote, announces Ela, gesturing for everyone to form a circle, and Foggy agrees. And fast. We wake up early. I want to reach the tavern soon after sunrise. Oh, and love, she looks at you with a wolf-like grin. Better take care of that before it burns. She points at a piece of roasting mouflon. For the next few minutes, you listen to a lively discussion, but it turns out to be rather one-sided, and most of the doubts get buried by pointed replies and references to your previous deeds. Finally, the voting occurs, and it takes no scribe to spot many more hands raised for the I side. I stand up. There's no clapping or cheerful shouts. Ela spreads his arms, lit by the glow of the bonfire. We will meet with the city folk and negotiate the terms. The shadow of his words spreads above the old, untamed paths of the tribe, and the grief follows. Nevertheless, a few of the locals approach you to share good words and to wish you a safe journey to the city. Some hope you'll bring back a few gifts. The feast continues with heavy souls, but the tension leaves your shell. All you have left are heavy eyelids and some time to kill. So, do we think our gambling friends are giving us inviting looks? Is it time to eat and drink? Do we find Ela and chat with him about the future? Do we find Ephron and chat with him about the past? Or, once people leave me to myself, I ask someone to show me to a spot to sleep and then shut my eyes for the rest of the night. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Spicy time, food, Ela, Ephron, or sleep. What do we do, chat? What do we do? The gambling friends are... What happened is that we had... Earlier stream, we had a chance to spend some time with some of the younger people at Creeks near the river. I believe you caught the stream where we came up to the city and saw them in the river, you know, cavorting around nude and not worrying about it. Nudist colony jokes galore. orgy colony as well, jokes galore that day. Well, we ended up getting to have a another run-in with that particular group, where they invited us along and we went, which was fun. There was swimming, there was getting to know each other, there was a lot of just being platonically touchy-feely, and there was also some gambling. So the gambling friends are giving inviting looks. We can go gambling? Question mark. So as I said, spicy time, food, Ela, Efron, or sleep. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Yep, indeed, Count. We're headed towards Irish Wake Dumb now. But what's the vote, guys? What's the vote? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Spicy time, food, Ela, Efron, or sleep. Count says spicy time. That is the start of the vote. What does the rest of chat want to do? Foggy wants us to leave early enough to get to her place by dawn, so sleep sounds good, but if you want something else, go for it. Okay, so I have a vote for 1 and a vote for 5. Winter Fairy. It's up to either of us again. You know what? I'm gonna outvote all of you. I'm gonna go talk to Efron. He needs a friend. He lost his friends. He needs a friend. I'm gonna help him. I'm gonna help Efron. Someone wakes you up, warning of the fog that covers the square so densely you can't see further than 4 steps away from the door. The adults stand alert for more than an hour, keeping spears in their reach, and from time to time shouting at other houses, making sure everyone is still alive. It too shall pass. Fogs are dangerous, that's for sure. You wake up on a pile of furs just after a few hours, still thinking about the feast and your conversation with the hunter. At first, you got bored, then the half-drunk man, and at first you got bored with the half-drunk man, then considered seeking a sleeping spot, but then he revealed the guilt that still bites his soul. While you couldn't heal him, he found comfort in having someone to talk to, and in the stories you shared with him as you observed the flowing creek below the village. Now there's our loud conversations coming from the main square, where people are sitting with plates of cold meat and bowls of gruel, chatting about the plans for the day. Some of them wish you a great day. There are loud conversations coming from the main square. Wow, they did that twice. Soda Pop is well rested and satisfied with grass. Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna go talk to him again. He's resting on a bridge, sitting on its edge and keeping his feet in the cold water. He welcomes you with a bow. Good fortune to you, friend. I need your help on High Island. It will make us even. Well, we haven't decided to pursue that, so we're gonna go over here. I don't have anything to talk to you about. Old Hava. We were talking about the room. The tribe says you're worth keeping around. I'll show you a scrap of floor. She leads you to the main square where a few people wave at you, then simply pushes open the door of the building that's near the northern bridge. On a bench next to the entrance, a young, visibly pregnant woman is leaning against the wall. Her bare feet are stretched out and make small circles, warming up before taking a walk. A new neighbor, she warmly announces, finally free from inns and caves, aye? Before you respond, you hear Hava's frustration. I'm done waiting. Follow her inside. The house is a single, large chamber, airy and bright. While the door has no lock, a massive bar that may be used to barricade it is right at hand, and the shutters seem just as safe. Signs of the residence are spread on the floor, shelves, tables, stools, and inside an open chest. At first they seem disorderly, but then you recognize that the sleeping spots under the walls are surrounded with items of distinct purpose, such as tools or toys. While there's not much privacy to be found here, there's still some sense of ownership and attachment to objects and spaces. As you've already seen, the lives of the locals take place outside. You recognize but one shape sleeping in a corner, a guard you've seen before, resting after a night shift. Your guide is standing above another corner next to an open window. It's the only spot that's free of clothes and other odds and ends. You are the eighth dweller, so be quiet during the nighttime, and be clean at all times. That's it. She turns around and leaves you with a large pile of furs on which you spot no dust or dirt. So we could say it's always good to have more options, but that's about it. I leave the house, I'm no one's neighbor, or I look at the empty corner, my new home, and sit down for a bit. I place around a few small things of mine as a mark of ownership. So, do we decide that this is just a place to sleep, or do we decide that we fit in Creeks and have a little spot for ourselves? Chat, what do we think? How sentimental do we get about this? 1 or 2? What shall we do? I am leaving this to all of you. Bed or home? 1 or 2? Count says 2. Trav also says 2. They've accepted us. We can accept them. Not that all the time, but it's nice to have somewhere to come back to. Yeah. I agree, Trav. This is nice. We like it in Creeks. We've come very fond of the people of Creeks. So at the very least, when we retire, we have someplace to retire to. What do you think, Winter Fairy? Is this home now? Have we found home? Yep, everyone's like, it's home. Soda Pop is napping in the shadow of a tree. All right, let's get a little cleaner. We're just a little dirty. Let's also buy a chicken. Chicken. We could buy a fish. We could buy some fish traps as well and put them in places, but I think we're okay. Let's just buy a chicken. Chicken. You know what? I'm gonna buy a fish trap too. I got so much money. Farewell. I think that's all we need to do here. So now we have a place to sleep in Creeks. We don't always have to go to Foggy's. We need to go to the monastery. We haven't dealt with this bridge, but I don't know if we can. We kind of need to go back around to Howler's Dell and the fishing hamlet as well, and we have yet to visit Old Pagos. So let's go to the monastery. I don't know if we just need to go to the old stone bridge and see what can be done or what. Like, I'm not entirely certain how to spark that at all. Maybe we have to go talk to Eudocia. Maybe we have to build it ourselves. I'm not entirely certain. We're going to go to the monastery, though. We've got things to do there. Oh, hey, we've got a little bit more. Before you cross the bridge, you're told to wait by Ela. There's one more thing, friend. Ever since we said farewell to our hunting friends and siblings, the tribe of Creeks sees we're lacking fresh blood, and we got too cocky with these woods and roads. If you think this is a good place for you... His dramatic pause is betrayed by the shaking lips of his concealed smile. You could stay with us for however long you'd like. We already voted on it, and to be honest, you're quite popular. His laughter is so honest, you can't help but feel warmth in your stomach. This might in fact be another ending, guys. We may have found an ending. Another one. So, that sounds. I'd love that, friend, but I need to finish a few things first, is option 1. I don't know what to say. I need some time to think, is option 2. I'm honored and grateful, but I have to refuse, is option 3. You misconstrue my motivations to help you, Ela. I have an exciting life ahead of me, and I'm not going to get tied to a little hamlet like yours, is option 4. Or care to elaborate, is option 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Love that. Time to think. Refuse. Adventure or elaborate. I think elaborate will be a kiss. I'm not certain it'll be a kiss. I actually think it might be my brother likes you. Count started the vote with 1. Winter Fairy agrees, so the ones are in the lead. What does Trav think? Yeah, it's not a now ending, but yes, it does seem like an opportunity to end at some point, yeah. Oh, you did vote 1. You're right. I missed it. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. That sounds. I'd love that, friend, but I need to finish a few things first. He spreads his arms. Do so. The 10 cities may take a step back from your life, but it's not like we're hermits. Close this old chest of yours and come back. Just don't die before spring. He's standing a few feet away, not sure what to say. So, do we smile and say I don't plan to die anytime soon? Do we shake his hand, or do we hug him? 1, 2, or 3. Smile, shake, or hug. What will it be? Hugs. Trav says hugs. Count also agrees. He'll hate it. I don't think he will. I think he's actually a fairly friendly man. I don't think he thinks of us as in a spicy way, but maybe like a little brother way. We're all about the hugs in this house, clearly. I step closer and hug him. He smells of wood shavings and mud, but also cooked meat. You stay in a brief embrace, without a word. After a few breaths, he heads up the hill. I also walk away without looking back. Yeah, that's sweet. All right, maybe now we can actually travel. To the monastery. A large red saurian is lying in the middle of the path, basking in the sun, but flees at your sight, climbing down the rocks as if they're a floor. There's no soul in sight. From the mountains comes a cheerful singing of a woman, though you can't understand a single word. You call the monks by hitting the sticks, and the drawbridge lowers. Ailey welcomes you with a cheerful wave of his bandaged hand. Salutations, glad to see thee in one piece. His young companion is right next to him, observing the sky with a wide grin. Okay. We're going to buy them. We got things to do, okay? However, this is where I'm going to end stream for today. We're going to pick up stream at the monastery and do things on the Western Path. So, thank you ever so much, chat, for joining me today. It's been a great stream. We've made progress. We've found another ending. So yay. We're pretty good, Trav. Stop worrying about it. We've made do since then. We probably want to get new clothes before we go back to Hovlavin if we choose to go there. It'll be fine. We will get the clothes. Just don't worry about it. But yes, so I'm wrapping up, and I do not believe any of the one friend I have to raid is streaming right now, so this is where we end. Thank you guys for coming. I stream every Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern US time. If that is not your time zone, Google will be your friend and tell you what time it is for you. I hope you guys all had fun. I did. We got we made some progress. We found an ending. We're well on our way to the end game here. And I will hope that everyone has a great rest of their Wednesday, and we will see you hopefully again tomorrow. So until then, bye guys.